Just give me under a minute, and I'll change the way you look at your life. Just listen. You've been taught to talk your way to respect, explain your worth, defend your value. But what if I told you the real power begins when you stop talking? The world listens to silence differently. It senses control, not absence. You don't need to raise your voice to be heard. You need to raise your presence. Because silence isn't weakness, it's strategy. Every second you don't speak, you gather power. Every pause makes people lean in. The loud are forgettable. The calm are unforgettable. This isn't a book about words. It's a book about energy, presence, and control. So stop scrolling, stop explaining, stop chasing noise, and listen carefully. Because from this moment on, you're going to learn how to win without talking. Chapter 1. Silence is a signal of power. Silence. Most people fear it. You must master it. Because silence isn't weakness. Silence is control. It's focus. It's the purest form of strength in a world addicted to noise. Every fool wants to be heard. Every weak mind wants to prove itself through words. But power doesn't announce itself. It reveals itself through restraint, through presence, through the ability to hold your energy when everyone else is spilling theirs. You have a choice. You can react or you can observe. That's the difference between a follower and a leader, between emotion and execution, between noise and power. Look at the truly powerful, the generals, the CEOs, the masterminds. They speak last, not first, because they understand. Every word you say reduces your leverage. Every unnecessary sentence gives away a piece of your mystery. And mystery is power. When you walk into a room, people don't respect your voice. They respect your energy. And silence builds that energy. It creates gravity. It makes people lean in. That's the key. People mistake silence for absence. But silence isn't absence. It's dominance. It's control. You don't need to prove who you are. You let the world feel it. Think of a military commander standing before his soldiers. He doesn't need to shout to command attention. His posture is stillness, his calm. Those speak louder than noise. His silence demands focus. Because the room knows when he does speak, it matters. That's how you must operate. Stop explaining yourself. Stop reacting to every opinion, every insult, every rumor. Let silence do the heavy lifting. Because when you're quiet, you force others to expose themselves. They start talking too much. They reveal their insecurities. They give away their strategy. While you stay still, centered, unreadable. That's power. You don't need their validation. You don't need to win every argument. You win by not entering it. Because silence frustrates the insecure. It disarms the manipulator. It confuses the arrogant. Your stillness is their mirror. It reflects their chaos back at them. That's why silence is feared. It's not emptiness, it's precision. Understand this. Words are currency. The more you spend, the cheaper you become. That's why the powerful conquer their speech. They choose their words like investments, each one deliberate, strategic, necessary. You don't need to fill every space. You need to create tension in the space you leave open. The silence between words is where authority lives. It's where confidence breathes. Because only the insecure rush to fill silence. Only the uncertain need to prove themselves. But you hold silence like a weapon. You let it sharpen the air. You let others squirm under its weight. That's when you see who's really in control. Listen carefully. Silence trains patience. It builds discipline. It teaches you emotional control. When you can sit in silence, you master your reactions. You stop chasing. You stop defending. You start choosing. That's how warriors think. They don't speak to react. They speak to direct. And until the moment demands it, they stay silent. Your silence must become your filter. Before you speak, ask yourself, does this add power to my position, or does it drain it? If it drains it, stay silent. If it adds strength, speak with purpose. It's not about avoiding communication. It's about elevating it. making every word count. That's the difference between noise and impact. When you speak rarely, your words echo. They carry weight. They make people listen because you've built credibility through silence. Let others chase attention. You chase control. Let them talk to be seen. You stay silent to be respected. You have a choice to be the noise everyone forgets or the silence that everyone remembers. That's why I say again, silence isn't weakness. Silence is a strategy. It's composure. It's psychological warfare. When you don't react, people get nervous. They start projecting. They start guessing what you're thinking. And every guess gives you more power because you've already won the one battle that matters, the battle over your own emotions. In silence, you build internal power. You observe. You gather data. You see patterns others miss. You understand timing. And timing is everything. The loudest person might start the game, but the quiet one always finishes it. You need to train this like a muscle. Start today. Stop answering immediately. Pause. Breathe. Look. Let the silence stretch just a second longer than feels comfortable. That's where your control grows. When you pause before reacting, you reclaim power. When you pause before speaking, you reclaim clarity. When you pause before acting, you reclaim direction. That's discipline. That's leadership. That's how you shift from reactive to deliberate. And remember, silence is not passive. It's active. It's intentional. You're not silent because you don't have something to say. You're silent because you're calculating, controlling, deciding when to say it. That's the difference. Stop fearing silence. Start using it in conversations, in arguments, in negotiations, in relationships, in life. Let silence make people uncertain. Let it build suspense. Let it elevate your presence. Because silence forces others to feel your energy instead of hearing your excuses. It transforms you from predictable to powerful. And when you master that, you'll stop chasing attention and start commanding it without effort, without noise, without weakness. That's how silent power works. You don't shout it. You radiate it. You have a choice. Keep talking to prove your worth, or stay silent and let your results speak. Choose power. Choose control. Choose silence. Because silence is an absence. It's dominance. You've learned to hold your silence. You've learned to control your reaction. Now it's time to take that energy and extend it beyond yourself, to learn how to influence, lead, and command presence without saying a word. Chapter 2. Control the room without words. Power isn't loud. Power isn't frantic. Power is felt before it's heard. When you walk into a room, your energy speaks before your mouth ever opens. Your posture, your eyes, your stillness. That's your introduction. People think power is about dominance, about who talks the most, who shouts the loudest, who commands attention with sound. Wrong. Power isn't about volume. It's about energy. It's about the calm force that bends the atmosphere without saying a word. You have to understand this. People feel you before they hear you. They sense your composure, your discipline, your control. And that's what makes them respect you. The loudest one in the room is rarely the leader. The calmest one is. Because the calm one dictates the emotional tone. And whoever controls the emotional tone controls the room. That's the key. When others panic, you breathe. When others shout, you stay still. When others rush to explain, you wait. Because you know, composure crushes chaos. Stillness is strength. Say it again. Stillness is strength. When everyone else loses control, your stillness becomes power. Your calm becomes gravity. Think of it like this. In every storm, there's an I, the calm center. That's where the real control exists. That's where decisions are made, not emotions. Be that center. You have a choice. Either mirror the chaos of others, or control the atmosphere through stillness. That's what real leadership looks like. It's not noise. It's not speeches. It's not commands. It's presence. Look at the greatest leaders, the generals, the negotiators, the CEOs, the athletes who never flinch under pressure. Their power isn't in what they say. It's in what they don't say. It's in the calm that surrounds them, because calm is control. When conflict hits, weak people react. They match energy. They let emotion dictate their tone, their body, and their judgment. But you rise above that level. You slow everything down. You set the emotional temperature. You decide how this room feels. That's what composure does. It creates psychological authority. Example: a leader walks into a crisis meeting. Everyone's tense, shouting, scattered. He doesn't yell to gain order. He doesn't pound the table. He stands still, looks around, breathes, and slowly the noise fades. People lower their voices. They mirror his energy. That's not coincidence. That's psychology. Humans subconsciously mirror the calmest dominant presence in the room. That's how true leaders control chaos, without saying a word. Your job is to be that emotional thermostat, not a thermometer that reacts, but a thermostat that sets the tone. You decide, calm, focused, unshaken. You don't need to demand attention. Your stillness commands it, because everyone feels that quiet confidence. They feel that you're not desperate for validation. They feel that you're grounded, and that feeling earns you respect before you speak. Stillness is strength. It's not passivity, it's precision. It's the ability to let noise pass through you without breaking your focus. People are always watching how you react. They're testing your control. Every moment of conflict, every disagreement, every challenge. It's not about the issue. It's about your response. And silence, stillness, composure. Those responses make you untouchable. The person who controls themselves controls everyone else. That's the secret. That's power. When you stay composed under pressure, you broadcast a message louder than words. I'm not afraid. I'm not reactive. I'm in command. And that energy shifts people. It disarms aggression. It kills panic. It earns loyalty because people trust calm. They trust grounded energy. They follow the person who doesn't flinch when others do. You have to practice this deliberately. Control your breathing in heated moments. Slow your tone when others rush theirs. Hold eye contact without aggression. Stand still when others fidget. Each act of control is a signal that says, I run my emotions. My emotions don't run me. That's influence. That's how leaders move people without saying a word. Understand this. When you stay calm, you're not ignoring conflict. You're dominating it because you're choosing strategy over reaction. You're keeping clarity while others lose it. And clarity wins every time. You don't need their permission to be still. You don't need to match their noise to prove you're strong. Stillness itself is your strength. When you enter a room, don't try to impress people. Let your silence speak. Let your confidence breathe. Let your energy do the talking. People will feel it. They'll adjust. They'll listen. That's power. Not through intimidation, but through control. Stillness is strength. Keep repeating it. Stillness is strength. When everyone overreacts, you stay grounded. When everyone rushes, you slow down. When everyone explains, you just look. That's how you dominate without noise. Remember, most people are addicted to reaction. They talk too soon. They argue too fast. They try to win attention instead of earning authority. But you operate differently. You understand that composure is currency. You don't spend it cheaply. When you master your energy, the world mirrors it back to you. When you walk into chaos and remain calm, chaos begins to calm itself. That's leadership. That's control. That's silent influence. You have a choice right now. Keep chasing power through noise or embody power through stillness. Speak less. Move slower. Breathe deeper. Command attention through the absence of desperation. That's what real confidence feels like. That's what real dominance looks like. It's unshaken, unbothered, unmoved. Stillness is strength. And every time you hold it, you rise above 99% of people who can't. Because most crumble under emotional pressure. You stay standing. Most react. You calculate. Most chase attention. You attract it. That's the discipline that separates the loud from the powerful, the noise from the respected, the emotion from the influential. Never forget this. Control the energy and you control the room. Control yourself and you control everything. Stillness isn't the absence of movement. It's the mastery of motion. It's your ability to decide what moves you. And when you hold that level of composure, people don't just listen to you. They align with you. That's the silent force of true authority. It can't be faked. It can't be taught in words. It's something you build moment by moment through the discipline of self-control. You have the choice. Be the noise that fades or the calm that commands. Stillness is strength. Always. You've learned how to control the room without saying a single word. But now, it's time to confront the biggest threat to that power, your own ego. Because the ego talks when silence should listen. And nothing kills respect faster than the need to prove yourself. Chapter 3. The Ego Trap. Why talking too much kills respect. Your ego wants to be seen. It wants to be heard. It wants validation now. But here's the truth. The more you talk to prove your worth, the more you expose your insecurity. And the more you expose your insecurity, the faster your respect dies. The insecure talk to prove. The powerful talk to direct. Know the difference. You don't gain power by talking more. You gain power by speaking less, but making every word count. Because real authority doesn't need to convince. It commands. You've seen it before. In meetings, in classrooms, in conversations. There's always that one person who won't stop talking, drowning in their own noise, mistaking words for impact. And then there's another person who barely speaks. But when they do, everyone goes silent. That's power. That's precision. That's control. When you talk too much, you lose control. You give people too much access to your thoughts, your emotions, your weaknesses. You reveal what you should be protecting. And make no mistake, your words are your armor. Once you start throwing them around carelessly, you weaken your defense. When you talk to prove, you lose. Repeat that. When you talk to prove, you lose. Because the moment you feel the need to prove your value, you've already surrendered it. You've handed your confidence to other people's opinions. And now, your power depends on their approval. That's ego. And ego is the enemy of quiet dominance. Understand this. Ego doesn't crave truth. It craves attention. It wants to win every argument. It wants to have the last word. It wants recognition for every contribution. But that's not leadership. That's desperation. Leaders don't need to be right all the time. They need to be effective. And effectiveness requires listening more than speaking. You have a choice. You can feed your ego or you can feed your power. But you can't do both. Power grows in silence. Ego dies there. Example. In a meeting, notice who's talking the most. Usually it's not the person with control. It's the person chasing it. They fill every pause, interrupt every idea, and repeat every point just to sound important. But the quiet one, the observer, the one who speaks once, calmly, clearly, decisively, that's the one who holds the room. Because that person's silence has built weight. Their words carry interest, not noise. That's what you must master, the art of strategic silence. When you stop talking to prove, you start communicating to influence. When you stop trying to sound smart, you start sounding certain. And certainty is magnetic. People don't follow the one who speaks the most. They follow the one who means the most. And meaning comes from restraint. You don't need to justify your value. You show it through composure. You show it through action. You show it through timing. Talking too much is the ego's attempt to control perception. But the more you try to control perception, the more you reveal your lack of it. The powerful don't explain, they demonstrate. That's the key. When you walk into a room, You don't tell people who you are. You let your presence do it. Because the need to announce yourself is already a weakness. People who know their worth don't promote it. They project it. Let your silence say what your ego wants to scream. Let your control speak louder than your defense. Because the moment you need to explain your worth, you've already given it away. The ego trap is subtle. It tells you, say something or they'll forget you. Speak more or they won't respect you. But in truth, the more you chase attention, the less you're respected. Respect is earned through restraint, through knowing when not to speak, through choosing presence over performance. Silence intimidates the insecure. It confuses the arrogant. It unsettles the attention seeker. That's why silence is feared, because it reveals who's truly in control. You don't need to fight for space. You need to own space. And ownership starts with control of your ego, of your impulses, of your words. Ask yourself, why am I talking right now? Is it to add value or to seek validation? If it's validation, stop. If it's value, say it once with precision. Every unnecessary word weakens your impact. Every attempt to prove yourself tells people you're unsure. Every time you overshare, you give them a weapon to use against you. Power is selective. It chooses its moments. It speaks when the time is right, and the words are heavy. Talking too much drains your authority because it makes you predictable. Predictability kills intrigue, and intrigue is influence. You must learn to master the pause between thoughts, the pause between reactions, the pause before responding. That pause, that silence, is where respect grows. Stillness is power. Restraint is mastery. Ego is noise. When you talk to prove, you lose. When you listen to understand, you grow. When you speak directly, you lead. That's the evolution. From insecure to influential. From reactive to intentional. From noisy to respected. Understand this. People remember impact, not effort. They don't remember how much you said. They remember how they felt when you said it. And that feeling comes from conviction, not quantity. If you can say more with less, you've already won. So kill the ego. Kill the urge to prove. Kill the need to be heard. Instead, cultivate presence. Cultivate control. Cultivate quiet power. Because that's the paradox. The less you speak, the more people listen. The less you explain, the more people believe. The less you prove, the more you're respected. You have a choice. Feed your ego or feed your influence. Choose wisely, because every word you speak either builds your authority or burns it. So, hold your silence like a weapon. Use your words like precision strikes. And never forget, when you talk to prove, you lose. You've destroyed the illusion that talking equals strength. You've learned that ego is the loudest weakness in disguise. Now it's time to go deeper, beyond silence, beyond control, into the hidden force that shapes how people feel around you, the invisible magnet that makes some individuals impossible to ignore. Chapter 4. The Psychology of Presence. Presence is power, not noise, not movement, not words. Presence is energy alignment, the full control of your body, your breath, your awareness. Before you ever speak, your energy has already spoken. Before your mouth opens, your posture, your eyes, your stillness, they've already told the room everything they need to know about you. That's presence, and presence is rare. Most people enter a space looking outward, scanning, seeking, chasing attention. But the powerful enter a space anchored inward, calm, controlled, centered. They don't chase the room. The room adjusts to them. That's the difference. That's the psychology of presence. Your posture is a statement. Your breathing is a signal. Your eye contact is communication. Every movement, every pause, every moment of stillness sends a message long before you speak. People can feel your state. They can feel when you're restless, when you're needy, when you're confident, when you're calm. You can't fake energy. You either project control or you leak it. Presence is energy alignment. Your body, your emotions, your focus, all moving in one direction. No scattered signals. No nervous energy. No overcompensation. The monk, the athlete, the assassin, they all share the same quality, unshakable energy. They command attention without noise. Their energy says, I'm here and I'm unshakable. That's not arrogance, that's centeredness. That's the kind of energy that makes people notice you without you trying to be noticed. Be seen without seeking. Say it again, be seen without seeking. Presence isn't about visibility, it's about gravity. It's the pull you create when your energy is fully owned and your focus is unbreakable. The insecure chase attention. The powerful attract it. And they attract it by being fully present where they are. Not thinking about what others think. Not waiting for approval. Just being. That's the secret. Presence is being completely in the now. Your mind isn't wandering. Your attention isn't fractured. You're grounded. Still. Fully here. When you're truly present, time slows down. You hear everything. You notice details others miss. You sense the rhythm of people's emotions. You understand what's not being said. And in that awareness, you gain control because power lives in attention. The more focused your attention, the more influence you have. Presence is power because presence is clarity. And clarity creates confidence. You can't control others, but you can always control your energy. And when you do, others instinctively follow it. They can't help it. Human beings are wired to mirror strong, stable energy. So when you stand grounded, they relax. When you're confident, they align. When you're calm, they listen. That's why leaders don't just speak, they radiate. Their presence moves the room before their words do. You have to cultivate that. And it starts with awareness. How are you standing? How are you breathing? Are you calm or tense? Are your shoulders relaxed or hunched? Are your eyes steady or darting? Every small physical signal either builds or breaks your authority. Your presence is communication without language. When you master posture, you project control. When you master your breath, you project calm. When you master your focus, you project power. People don't just see you, they feel you. That's why presence is the highest form of communication. Be seen without seeking. Because when you stop chasing attention, attention starts chasing you. Think of the monk sitting in silence. His calm pulls you in. Think of the athlete before the game, centered, breathing deeply, locked in. Think of the assassin before the strike. Still deliberate, emotionless focus. None of them talks. None of them performs. They exist with power. That's presence. And it's earned through discipline. You can't fake calm if your mind is in chaos. You can't project confidence if your energy is fragmented. You build presence through daily practice by mastering the inner world, because internal chaos always leaks externally. So train your energy, slow your breathing, ground your thoughts, align your posture, move with intention. Presence is not about looking confident. It's about being confident, deep in your nervous system. It's the unspoken message that says, I don't need to prove anything. And that message changes everything. You have a choice. Keep chasing attention through noise and movement, or learn to stand still and let attention find you. Presence doesn't chase. Presence draws. Presence doesn't perform. Presence radiates. When you're truly present, people trust you, because presence signals safety and certainty. It says, this person is grounded. They know who they are. They're not swayed by noise. And that trust becomes respect. The more grounded you are, the more powerful your silence becomes. Because presence amplifies everything, even stillness. Presence makes silence feel heavy. Presence makes small gestures feel important. Presence makes short words feel final. That's why the powerful don't need to talk much. Their presence carries the weight of 1,000 words. So align your body, align your breath, align your energy, and then do nothing. Just be. Let others perform for attention. Let others seek validation. You stand there, calm, focused, anchored. Be seen without seeking. Because the ones who seek are forgettable, but the ones who radiate are unforgettable. Presence isn't about being the loudest. It's about being the one people can't look away from. You don't need to fight for space when your energy owns it. You don't need to ask for respect when your presence commands it. That's the essence of presence, not force, but gravity. And gravity never begs. It simply pulls. So remember this. Presence is alignment. Presence is awareness. Presence is power. Be seen without seeking. Be still but strong. Be silent but feel. Because in a world that's constantly shouting, the one who can stand still will always be heard the loudest. You've learned how to hold space, to command attention with energy, not noise. Now, it's time to refine that control even further, to master the one tool that separates ordinary communicators from the powerful few, the ability to pause with purpose. Chapter 5. Master the Power Pause. The pause is more powerful than any word you can speak. It's the secret weapon of the confident, the disciplined, the influential. Every word you say carries weight, but every pause between words multiplies that weight. A pause commands attention. A pause makes people think. A pause forces them to lean in. Most people are terrified of silence. They rush their sentences. They fill every gap. They spill their thoughts before they're fully formed. And in doing so, they reduce the impact of every word. But you use the pause. You control the rhythm. You create tension. You make people hang on your every word. Pause. Hold. Control. Repeat it in your mind. Pause. Hold. Control. Every pause is a statement. Every pause is power. Every pause is a silent reminder that you lead the rhythm. Think about the great speakers, the negotiators, the leaders who command rooms effortlessly. They don't talk faster than everyone else. They speak measuredly, and then they pause. The room waits. Attention sharpens. Tension rises. Respect grows. Silence is not emptiness. Silence is a tool. Silence is authority. When you pause, you give your words space to breathe. You give your audience space to process. You give yourself space to evaluate. And in that space, control lives. Every time you rush, you surrender power. Every time you over-explain, you reveal insecurity. Every time you speak without thought, you diminish your authority. But when you pause, just a beat longer than feels natural, everything changes. The weight of your words grows. The focus sharpens. The room leans toward you without you asking for it. Pause. Hold. Control. The pause also protects you. It prevents you from reacting emotionally. It prevents you from saying what you might regret. It lets clarity lead, not impulse. It turns reactive speech into deliberate influence. The pause is a weapon in negotiations, in conversations, in presentations. The one who masters it doesn't just speak. They dictate attention. They don't just communicate. They command. Think of a master negotiator. Every word is precise. Every pause is calculated. Every silence is deliberate. The other party starts to fill the silence, reveal more than intended, and lean into your control. That's the hidden power of the pause. Pause. Hold. Control. Even in conflict, the pause is lethal. When someone attacks, reacts, or pressures you, don't rush to respond. Pause. Hold. Control. Your calm silence becomes a mirror of their desperation. Their agitation is exposed. Your authority rises. The pause trains patience. The pause trains discipline. The pause trains perception. Because in the pause you see, you observe, you calculate, and then, when the moment demands it, you speak. And your words land with precision, impact, authority, influence. You don't need to fill space to hold attention. You don't need to speak more to be heard. The pause ensures that the room listens, not just hears. Pause. Hold. Control. The pause is also confidence in action. It says, without saying, I don't need to rush. I don't need to convince. I am deliberate. I am unshaken. And that confidence is magnetic. Every pause you take communicates power. Every hesitation is a tool if used intentionally. Every moment of stillness is an opportunity to dominate. Start training this now. Speak a sentence, then stop. Notice the effect. Let the tension grow. Watch how people lean forward, how eyes focus, how the room waits. Pause. Hold. Control. It is not a weakness to stop. It is a strength to measure. It is mastery to create silence where everyone else fears it. The pause is not just about timing. It's about rhythm. You are the conductor. Your words are the instruments. Your silence is the rest that makes the music unforgettable. Pause. Hold. Control. Every conversation becomes a stage. Every meeting becomes a demonstration of command. Every interaction becomes an arena where your influence is felt, even without shouting, because the world is full of people who rush, people who speak without thought, people who try to fill every space. Be the one who controls the rhythm. Be deliberate. Be measured. Be unshakable. Pause. Hold. Control. And remember, impact is not in words alone. Impact is in timing. Impact is in rhythm. Impact is in knowing when to speak and when to let silence speak for you. The pause is your invisible weapon. It is subtle but lethal. It is quiet but undeniable. It is a hallmark of anyone who commands authority effortlessly. So practice it. Own it. Master it. Pause. Hold. Control. Every pause is a declaration of your discipline. Every pause is a sign that you lead. Every pause is a reminder that your power is not measured in words, but in presence. You've learned how to make silence work in rhythm with your speech. Now it's time to take this further, to win influence, negotiations, and even arguments without ever raising your voice. Chapter 6. Win arguments without saying a word. Winning doesn't always mean speaking. Winning doesn't mean proving your point. Winning doesn't mean raising your voice or dominating the conversation. Sometimes, the most powerful victory comes from saying nothing at all. You don't have to argue to win. All you have to do is stop giving reactions. Stop feeding the chaos. Stop playing the game others insist you play. React less. Win more. Repeat it. React less. Win more. Every reaction you withhold is a statement of control. Every word you don't speak is a victory over the noise. Most people argue because they need validation. They argue because they want to be heard. They argue because their ego refuses to sit quietly. But the moment you refuse to feed that energy, everything changes. Silence confuses. Silence disarms. Silence ends conflict. When someone insults you, attacks your character, or pressures you emotionally, they expect a reaction. They expect anger. They expect excuses. They expect you to engage in the chaos they created. Give them nothing. Stay quiet. Breathe. Stand still. Hold your energy. Watch as they lose control. Because they built a narrative around your reaction. They expected fire and you gave ice. They expected a storm and you gave calm. That's power. React less. Win more. Your silence becomes your strategy. Your calm becomes your authority. Your absence of reaction becomes a mirror that exposes their insecurity, their desperation, their lack of control. Every word they expected from you is replaced by the weight of your composure. Every insult rebounds back to them, not because you said something, but because you didn't. Imagine a scenario. A colleague criticizes you in a meeting. Your first instinct is to defend, explain, or attack back. But if you pause, hold, control, if you breathe, if you observe, if you choose silence over reaction, they will overextend themselves. They will reveal their insecurity. They will lose respect in the eyes of others and in their own. Reacting gives others power. Silence takes it back. React less. Win more. Winning without speaking is the ultimate mastery of influence. Because people feed off your energy. They watch your every move. Your reaction or lack thereof dictates the rhythm of the interaction. Starve them of your reactions, and they starve themselves. They want your noise. They crave your attention. They anticipate your defense. Deny it. Hold your space. Maintain your composure. Let your silence speak louder than arguments ever could. This is not passivity. This is control. This is a strategy. This is dominance without aggression. Even in personal relationships, silence is a weapon of influence. When someone tests you emotionally, when they push, when they provoke, you don't have to escalate. Reacting gives them validation. Staying silent denies it. React less. Win more. The world rewards those who do not react to chaos. It punishes those who do. Notice this pattern. The more impulsive the reaction, the more you reveal weakness. The calmer the response or lack thereof, the more you project strength. The more you hold your energy, the more others bend to it. Every argument you avoid by not reacting is a battle won. Every moment of restraint compounds your authority. Every pause, every breath, every measured glance tells the room, I am unshakable. And the beauty of this method is that it works across contexts, in business, in negotiations, in social interactions, even in conflict at home. The moment you realize that arguing is optional, everything changes. You no longer give others control over your emotional state. You no longer validate their chaos. You no longer fight for respect that is naturally drawn to you when you embody calm authority. React less. Win more, even when provoked, especially when provoked. The louder they get, the calmer you must remain. The more they expect a reaction, the less you give them one, because your silence is a silent victory. Power is energy. Control is discipline. Influence is earned not through argument, but through restraint. React less. Win more. Starve them of your reactions. Let their own impatience and neediness betray them. Let their words rebound against them, while your composure multiplies. The world is filled with people who cannot contain themselves. They cannot hold back. They cannot resist the urge to prove. They cannot master silence. And that's where your advantage lies. React less. Win more. Remember it in every interaction, every confrontation, every pressure point. You don't have to raise your voice to assert control. You don't have to defend your position to dominate it. You don't have to speak to influence outcomes. Let silence do the work. Let composure do the work. Let your stillness communicate power, where words would only dilute it. React less. Win more. The argument that never happens. The insult that goes unanswered. The criticism met with calm. All of it builds a quiet empire of authority. Every silent victory compounds your influence. Every reaction withheld strengthens your presence. Every moment you choose control over chaos shifts power in your favor. This is mastery. This is dominance. This is winning without saying a word. React less. Win more. And once you internalize this, once you embody it, you become untouchable. Because people can no longer manipulate you. They can no longer bait you. They can no longer dictate your emotional rhythm. You are the rhythm now. You are the authority. You are the calm in the storm. React less. Win more. Silence is no longer passive. It is your tool, your strategy, your victory. You've learned to control arguments, diffuse chaos, and assert dominance without speaking. Now it's time to solidify this power internally, to carry it everywhere you go with unshakable assurance. This is the culmination of all the lessons so far, mastery over your presence, your words, and Chapter 7. The Discipline of Silent Confidence. Silent confidence is not luck. It's not a trait you're born with. It's a muscle, and like any muscle, it grows stronger with discipline. Silence isn't passive. It isn't a weakness. It isn't hiding. It's a skill. It takes patience to hold back. It takes discipline to listen when others shout. It takes courage to withhold what everyone expects you to say. Every time you resist the urge to react, to justify, to defend. You are strengthening that muscle. Every time you pause, every time you stay grounded, every time you let others fill the space you control, you are building silent authority. You don't need to announce greatness. You demonstrate it. Say it again. You don't need to announce greatness. You demonstrate it. The world confuses volume with power. It praises aloud, admires the flashy, and rewards the over-talking. But real influence, real respect, real control comes from restraint. It comes from strategy. It comes from silent confidence. Look at the people who win long-term. The ones who climb to the top, not by arguing, not by proving, not by reacting, but by moving strategically, by speaking sparingly, by acting decisively. They measure every step. They choose their words carefully. They let their actions, not their voices, carve their path. In business, the quiet strategist shapes deals behind the scenes. In life, the patient observer makes the right move at the perfect moment. In any domain, the one who speaks least but acts most purposefully always wins. Your silence is not emptiness. It is command. It is a focus. It is control. You have a choice every day to chase validation, to prove yourself, to feed the noise, or to cultivate calm authority and unshakable presence. Speak when it adds value. Stay silent when it adds control. You don't need to shout to be heard. You don't need to justify to be respected. You don't need to react to be strong. Every word you withhold is power saved. Every pause you maintain is influence gained. Every silence you command is authority demonstrated. Practice this relentlessly. Listen more than you speak. Observe more than you react. Move more strategically than you announce. Silent confidence is contagious. People notice it. They respect it. They follow it. And most importantly, they cannot manipulate it. They cannot control it. The strongest leaders, the sharpest negotiators, the most successful individuals, they all share this trait. They are unshakable. They are calm when chaos erupts. They are composed when the world screams. They are confident without needing applause. You can be that person. The discipline of silent confidence is not occasional. It is constant. It is habitual. It is deliberate. Every moment you hold your ground, you reinforce it. Every time you pause before responding, you strengthen it. Every time you act without announcing, you solidify it. You don't need to talk to win. You just need to own your silence. You don't need to explain your worth. You just need to demonstrate it. You don't need permission to be respected. You just need to show up steady and grounded every time. From now on, every interaction is an opportunity to exercise this discipline. Every pause, every withheld word, every silent observation is a testament to your authority. You don't win by being louder. You win by being unshakable. You don't prove yourself by talking. You prove yourself by holding your ground. When others rush to speak, you wait. When they explode, you breathe. Your silence isn't emptiness. It's command. It's focus. It's control. From this moment forward, stop explaining yourself. Stop reacting to the noise. Stop chasing validation. Let your presence speak. Let your actions echo. Let your silence intimidate. Because the ones who can stay calm when everyone else is loud, they rule the room. You don't need to talk to win. You just need to own your silence. Here's your challenge. For the next 24 hours, speak less, observe more. Watch how people lean toward your silence. Notice how the room shifts, how energy changes, how influence grows. That's not a coincidence. That's power. And from this day forward, make silence your strategy and dominance your language. Hold it, own it, live it. You are not weak. You are not passive. You are disciplined. You are silent. You are powerful. You've now completed the full journey. From mastering silence, controlling presence, wielding the pause, to dominating arguments without words. Every lesson builds on the last. Every principle reinforces the ultimate truth. Power is quiet, influence is deliberate, and confidence is silent.